and we return to finish off the other half of Zelda 2 The Adventure of Link. Last time we just finished the Island Palace, having placed my 3rd crystal out of 6. I currently only have 1 of my 3 lives remaining. After healing in Mido from the previous palace, I walk into the harbour and use the raft to travel to Eastern Hyrule. I stand on this one tile of forest to the south and enter a battle scene. There are a lot of Giruboku here and they can only be damaged when their eyes are open. Only I throw myself into one and game over. Next time I just power past them, grab the point bag and leave. I travel east to find a town, but first go south to enter this cave. Tektites are here and shooting fireballs out of their eyes, but right now I don't have either of the spells that can damage them. I just power through them to the second screen where I bounce over this Aruroda and grab a second point bag and die on the way out. There's a giant spider blocking the path west of the cave, but I can't deal with it yet, so I backtrack north into the town of Nabooru. On the second screen, I talk to a woman leaving the first house who tells Link she's thirsty, so I walk further and crouch at the fountain to get some water. I give her the water and she lets me into her house to talk to the old man who teaches me the fire spell, which for 16 magic points lets me shoot fire from my sword. It's one of the few ways I can kill Tektites. I leave town and enter the cave entrance to the north. I kill a few Ache men and then run into a Basilisk, another enemy that requires a fire spell to kill. It takes a lot of shots though. Leaving the screen puts me on the other side of the mountain. I head east through the forest towards a bridge, but just before reaching it I end up fighting some Levers. With the downstab these are no problem at all. Before getting on the bridge, in the southwest corner of the beach is another Link doll. Getting on the bridge takes me to Maze Island. Not only is there the 4th palace at the end of this maze, but there is also 2 items to find here. First I go along the southern path to the east end, and then follow the path north to a hole that drops me in a cave. In here is my first Lizalfos, who fight just like Iron Knuckles. I ignore it and find the lost child. This was a bad idea, as the Lizalfos can hit me during the item get pose and kills me. On respawning I take the left path and leave. I return the way I came and at the first path heading north, I take it and go east into a battle scene. Here I'm slowly ascending while fighting Basilisks and Tektites until I reach the exit. I go north and east, ignoring the first bridge and crossing the second. I go west into another battle scene, just more Tektites and Basilisks. From there it's west a little more, north and around the wall, and south until I reach another hole that drops me in front of another magic container. I leave the rest of the maze for now and leave. Back in the forest area I go west and into this mountain path. At the start of the path is a mandatory battle screen with me jumping over the water and fighting Octoroks, followed by one with almost the exact same layout but now with bubbles rising from the ground. Once I'm through, I can enter the mountain town of Darunia. Now that one is actually a thing after Ocarina of Time. On the second screen I use the jump spell to get on top of the smallest house and jump along the roofs until I can drop down a chimney. In this house is a warrior who'll teach me the upstab, like the downstab but done by pressing up. It's useful but I get more use out of the downstab. And that's all my sword techniques acquired. I go to the third screen and talk to the first old woman I see to return her child. She lets me into her house so I can talk to the old man who teaches me the reflect spell. For 32 magic points I can block some projectiles with my shield that I couldn't normally, and reflect spells from an enemy I haven't met yet. Now it's time to return to Maze Island. On the way I meet another new enemy, the Boon. They'll fly around and try to drop boulders on my head. Back to the second screen of Maze Island, the one after the bridge, I lose my second life to a Tektite's fireballs. This time after getting through it, I go north through the gap and continue north and west and then east into another battle screen. Just more of the usual suspects and I move on. At the fork I go north and take the first east I can into another screen. I worry when I have to heal and don't have enough magic for another fire spell, but there's a red potion for me here thankfully. Once again after I leave I take the next east and go south into another screen that adds the Boon into the mix of enemies. The first one I kill drops a red potion, so I can boost myself with all the spells first and then fully recover all my magic. And once I leave it's just south, east and south to reach the 4th palace, the Maze Palace. For the first time the entrance screen actually has an enemy, with a mower flying around. I take the lift down and go right to the next screen. I have to bait an armoured Stalfos out of a hole so I can grab the point bag in it and reach the 2500 XP for life level 7. I reach a lift, take it down and get off at the first chance to keep moving right to the next screen. I use the jump spell and run across this collapsing bridge and jump the huge gap to take out the Doom Knocker and move on to the next screen. In here I have to cross some bridges across lava. There are piles of blocks with flames on top, so I just have to destroy the blocks to lower the flames so that I can jump over them. At the end is my first key. I use up nearly all my magic on life and shield and all that, expecting hitting the statue to give me a red potion, but instead I get a red iron knuckle from it. Not that it matters because a Doom Knocker shows up on one of the bridges on the way back and bumps me into the lava for a game over. Now this is one of the hardest palaces to backtrack to after a game over thanks to the amount of mandatory battle scenes I have to go back through. I return to the room with the collapsing bridge and instead fall into the pit to be dropped onto a lower floor. I land on another collapsing bridge and jump off to safety. I head to the right, deal with an input reading Doom Knocker and move on to the next room. I have to fight 2 armoured Stalfos at the same time and manage it without getting hit. This is followed by a blue iron knuckle who has such perfect timing, most of his throws hit and I die. Next time I fight it back, unlocking a door while doing so, and kill it. It was guarding the boots. They allow me to walk over certain bits of water in the overworld. I backtrack to the pit I dropped above and fall in again. I land on another collapsing bridge and move right once more to another screen. It's another room filled with bridges and fire atop blocks, but this time the Doom Knocker is there for me to kill from the beginning, followed by an armoured Stelphos and a bubble just before I reach a second key. I backtrack to the bridge I landed on and try to cross it, but a dickhead Ra knocks me into the lava and kills me. I make it across next time and into the next room. This screen has the first Wizrobes in the game. This is where the Reflect spell comes in. I can bounce their spells off my shield and back at them. I unlock a door and find a lift. I ignore it and keep moving left, getting stuck between two Wizrobes. Just one reflected spell will kill them. The next room has me climbing up some blocks and downstabbing through them to grab a key. It takes me some time and a lot of health to get out while dealing with these arseholes. I return to the lift I skipped and ride it up 4 floors to the top. This is the first floor from the entrance. I return to the entrance lift and go left this time. There's some Wizrobes, but I don't have the magic to cast Reflect, so I just have to avoid them, unlock the door and run to the next screen. Right away I can see a key and some breakable blocks above me. I kill the iron knuckle here, upside the blocks, jump spell up, grab it and unlock the door right in front of me. I skip the lift here and keep moving left to the next screen. It's another block climbing room. Not far in, I downstab my way to a point bag. That's all in here, so I go back to the lift I skipped and ride it down. I move right into the next screen. It's another of the bridge over lava rooms. This time there are Ra flying at me and one rams me out of the air and into lava for a game over. Thankfully I now have the boots and can just walk up the river to the palace. I get back to the room quickly enough and grab another key at the end. I return to the lift, go left and unlock the door to the next room. This one has me jumping across a pair of collapsing bridges until I reach another lift to ride down. But I missed a key somewhere. I return to the last block room I got a point bag in and go further along to get the key I missed. I die on the way back though. I return to the locked door and open it. This place has a couple armoured Stelphos to fight and a point bag requiring the jump spell to reach. The next room has me fighting a pair of red iron knuckles before I finally reach the boss room. The fourth boss is Karok, and he's even easier than Horsehead. I just cast Reflect and crouch in the corner. He cannot hurt me unless he teleports into this exact spot, and eventually enough spells get bounced at him to kill him. I place the 4th crystal, getting me to 3000 XP and attack level 6 before I leave. I return to the town of Nabooru and follow the path west, walking over the water thanks to the boots. It takes me straight to the 5th palace, but first I can go down at a specific spot onto this island where one specific tile leads to an area where I need to use a jump spell to reach a point bag. Back on the first path, there's another hidden path north leading to a tile in the sea containing the game's 3rd heart container. Now I can enter the Ocean Palace. When I go down the entrance lift, I can only move right. I climb up some blocks taking out ropes until I reach the next screen. Here I can't reach the key with the jump spell, so I fly up as a fairy, leave the screen to the right and come back as normal to grab the key. Then go to the right again. The next room has me running on a collapsing bridge avoiding Ra, but I miss a point bag with my downstab and the successful attempt at grabbing it causes my death. Just 1 life left. I cross the bridge and move on to the next screen. This one has me passing the breakable blocks, taking on iron knuckles and unlocking a door to a lift that I take down before moving left. Here my first Mago appears. They're like Wizrobes but send out a fireball along the floor. They also have a nice 200 XP when you kill them. The next screen has an out of reach key and falling blocks. I just have to let the blocks pile up and climb them to the key. I then continue left to the next screen. This room has me taking down 3 iron knuckles before I go down another lift. I move right to the next screen while avoiding Magos. I try to jump on this bridge over lava, but an absolute arsehole Bago flies out of nowhere and swaps me into the lava and into a game over. This time I go left from that lift. Here I move past another lift, forget that fairies can't grab bags again, and unlock a door before moving to the next screen. I then come back and get the point bag and take the lift down. I get off at the first left to take on a Guma, downstab through some blocks and continue left to upstab myself another point bag. I return to the lift and take the right path to take out an iron knuckle and grab another key, then I take the right exit. This room is just a straight line of bubbles and Magos. The one after it has a blue iron knuckle and what looks like a dead end, but the wall is fake and I can jump through it and follow it into another screen, followed by another screen of Magos until I reach a lift and go down it. Here I unlock a door while being menaced by another Mago and some Mao. I end up dying when I downstab too early and crash into one, but next time I make it through to the next screen. This room has a couple iron knuckles guarding a door. I kill them but find I'm missing a key, so I backtrack to the lift, take it up and go right to the next room. This just has me running a straight line towards another lift that I take up. I keep moving left, bouncing on some Stelphos heads to the screen containing the key. I return to the door and unlock it to grab the flute. This is how you deal with that giant spider south of Nabooru. I backtrack up the lift, through the wall and take the previous lift back up. I go left to a screen containing a Guma, making sure to get the red potion from the dragon statue. I walk past the lift, go left some more and break through some blocks to face Nyan Knuckle and get another point bag. I then ride the lift down. It's another straight line of Margos and Bubbles, but with a point bag to upstab on the way. At this point, Orange Iron Knuckles only take 2 hits to kill. I ignore the red one above me but have to deal with the blue one. Or do I? I use the jump spell to get on the blocks, walk to the wall and downstab my way to the next key. I go back to the lift and ride it all the way up to find another door to unlock. Got another blue and red Iron Knuckle to deal with before I reach the boss room. Goomba, not to be confused with Goomba, here kills me in 1 hit due to my low health. I cast shield and do it properly next time. His mace has massive range, but his pattern is simple. Once he swings, I run in for a single stab while he's open and back away or jump. It's still tricky though and I find myself having to heal at one point. His face is armoured so it has to be the gut eye stab. Apparently this guy is an addition to the western versions. I believe the Famicom Disk System simply repeated a boss here. In the end I kill him and place a crystal on the statue. Just 1 left. With the level up it grants me, I get magic level 7 and leave. Once I've healed up, I go south of Nabooru and play the flute to get rid of that spider. Following the path south I get a scream of a huge fence and Lizalfos peeking out from the top and throwing rocks down at me. There are some that try to fight me face to face too, but I just decide to ignore them and brute force my way to the end. Going further south gets me another similar screen, except this time there's a basilisk on the ground, and then further south once more gets me another to run through. Exiting the canyon gets me to a graveyard next to a swamp. I get in the swamp and hug the west wall going north. This takes me to a screen requiring the jump spell to get a Link doll. Then it's further north into a cave where I just walk right into the first enemy and lose that new life I just got. It's a basic 2-screen cave with nothing new and a point bag with 500 XP inside at the end. From the cave I go southeast out of the swamp to cross a bridge into a forest. But first, the bridge is its own screen with Bago Bago jumping out of the water and basilisks walking along it. There's a beach south of the forest and east of these 3 rocks is a tile hiding a screen with the game's final heart container. Then it's northwest slightly into the forest for a hidden screen with another point bag. I continue slightly northwest to enter another cave. It's filled with Tektites but I don't have enough magic for fire, so I'll just have to bounce over them with the downstab. The second screen has a pair of Lizalfos, but I'm on my last life with little health, so I just bounce over them too and exit the cave onto this beach. As soon as I enter the forest, I can use the hammer on some trees to reveal the hidden town of Kasuto. The only town that didn't get a character named after it in Ocarina of Time. What did this Kasuto person do to get completely left behind then? This town is a replacement, as one woman I talk to says they had to flee the original town. I talk to an old woman who lets me in her house and tells me of a secret at the edge of town. I go into her basement to grab the 4th and final magic container in the game. I go to the second screen and enter the first open house, then crouch in front of the fireplace to go down and meet the old man who teaches me the spell. I'll get to it in a bit. The third screen is empty except for a wall. I cast the spell here to make a building grow from the ground. Inside is a magic key that will allow me to unlock all locked doors in all remaining dungeons for free. Since I have only 1 life, I don't feel like starting another palace yet, so instead I hang around in the forest and grind, with the intention of healing in Kasuto whenever my health gets low. However, I get some bad luck 3/4 of the way to my next level when a red Lizalfos kills me and I lose it all. So I head all the way back and start again. Starting the grind from scratch, it takes 7 minutes to get the 4000 XP for life level 8. 12 minutes later, I get to 5000 XP and attack level 7. 9 minutes after that, I get 6000 XP and magic level 8. I decide to get going after this, back through the cave and back on the beach. I go west to find one more town, but first I have to cross a bridge screen. Nothing new at this point. The town is the original Kasuto, deserted with ruined houses. That's about it, so I go back, getting myself killed when a Bago Bago knocks me off the bridge. I stand in the middle of the rock triangle on the beach and play the flute. This makes the 6th palace appear, the Hidden Palace. From the first lift, I go down 1 floor and get off to the left. With level 7 attack, Bubbles now take only 14 hits to kill. I have to use a jump spell to make it to the next screen. It's another room climbing the breakable blocks and partway along I can downstab my way to a point bag. I return to the lift and go right. There's a row of more blocks I can upstab through to grab another point bag. I then take the lift to the next floor down. I unlock the door, having never needed to search for a key this time, and keep moving right. Got Wizrobes and Doom Knockers to deal with before I move on to the next screen, then a Blue Iron Knuckle. I'm certain the developers found out about the jump and stab timing and deliberately started putting them under low ceilings to prevent its use. I use the jump spell to cross a pit, open a door, and jump over this Iron Knuckle since I don't have the health to take it on. At the start of the next room, a Wizrobe teleports into me and kills me. This floor is just all Wizrobes and I run off to the next screen. There's a Blue Iron Knuckle trapped in the blocks, but I jump over him and keep going, making sure to grab the point bag at the bottom. Halfway through the room is a lift, but first I move right some more to the next room. I run along the room avoiding Moa and Wizrobes until I accidentally fall through a fake floor. I break through the blocks on my right to get a point bag. I break through the blocks on the left and avoid a Moa, Bubble and Iron Knuckle on my way to the next room. This one has Armoured Stalfos and Wizrobes. Since I only have one more level to gain, and clearing the palace will automatically give it to me, I decide to avoid unnecessary fights since I don't need the XP anymore. I unlock a door and ride the lift up to reveal it was the lift I skipped last time. I use the jump spell to cross the invisible hole and break through the block wall to the next room. In here I'm given a rematch against the Rebonak. I get him down to the Iron Knuckle phase, but lost too much health on the way here and lose my last life. And on the way back I lose my first life to a Bago on a bridge. I make it to him with 75% health next time. I easily kill him and get one of the only 2 keys in this palace, not that I'll need it. I unlock the door and get the final item in the game, the cross. This allows me to see blue and purple Moas, which would be invisible otherwise. I fall down the hole and die while backtracking. I make it back to the room with the visible pits, having lost most of my health on the way. I then drop into the pit to land on a collapsing bridge and jump off to the left. I fight back this Iron Knuckle to a point bag against the wall, but it kills me and I game over. I get back with all 3 lives and get it next time. I drop through the pit again to another bridge and then do it once more. I go left for another point bag. I drop into the pit again, which loops after 4 drops. I drop 3 times and go to the right to unlock a door. The next room has me jumping over lava pits while avoiding the flying Ra. I just about reach the end with a block wall to break through before one knocks me into the lava, but I make it through next time. Next is just running straight ahead with Wizrobes and an Iron Knuckle. This screen has me using the fairy spell to fly to the other side while avoiding bubbles and the ceiling fireball things. The next screen just has a couple enemies until I reach this lift I go down 2 floors on. I unlock a door on the right and then go left. It's another block climbing room, but in this one I lose loads of health dealing with Mao and an Iron Knuckle at the same time. All just so I can downstab to another point bag. I then return to the lift, take it back up and unlock the door to the right. The room it leads to has me a second rematch with a Rebonak. I die thanks to all that health I lost getting the bag. I grab the other key I don't need and keep moving right. All I have to do in the next room is ferry across this gap, getting cramped in with 2 bubbles and an Iron Knuckle to grab a Link doll. I then fly into the hole to fall through another room and land on this collapsing bridge. I follow it to the left side of the room to get a red potion from a statue, since those bubbles drain nearly all my magic. Going left 2 rooms from here takes me back to the bottom of the lift. I drop down the hole once again, but this time on the screen after, I ferry my way into a passage on the right. This takes me to the room containing the palace boss, Baba, or Volvagia in Japanese, clearly supposed to be the same species, if not the same entity, from Ocarina of Time. There are lava pits in this room it will rise out of. It'll breathe fireballs and I have to stab its head. If I'm careful, I can also downstab it as it lowers into the lava. I just stay on the platform I'm on, crouch stab off one of the edges and hope he rises into it. If he chooses a different spot, I just try to avoid the fire. I aim to a hit from death, but he kills me first. Luckily I grab that Link doll, so I kill him next time, but it still nearly took all my health. I place the final crystal and get the final level up in the game, attack level 8. I am now fully upgraded. From now on, every 9,000 experience I gain will be converted into an extra life. And with all 6 crystals placed, it's now time to search for the Great Palace to find the Triforce of Courage. I return to the deserted Kasuto, now I can see the invisible Moas here, and enter the first house. The old man inside will teach me the Thunder Spell, claimed to be the most powerful spell in the game, but it takes a huge 64 magic points to use. We'll see it later. And now I'm fully equipped as well. I get a game over when crossing the bridge back outside town, but that doesn't matter, I'm gonna need all lives for this. The graveyard north of the deserted Kasuto has the path to the Great Palace. There's an exit to the south leading into the Valley of Death. First I have to deal with another wall screen with the rock throwing and some Moas flying around. After this there's supposed to be this screen to the east that a guide claimed had a red potion, but I couldn't make one appear no matter what I did. So I get moving west. Battle scenes here are very cruel, with many flying enemies and lava pits for them to knock you into. As I keep heading west, I get a mandatory screen. Got to fight Lizalfos in a cramped tunnel with Moas flying into me. Then he's jumping across lava pits to another Lizalfos tunnel. I then use the jump spell to ensure I cross the final gap. Back outside I get moving north. I die in a fight while my upstab's recoil knocks me into lava. Left of this fork is a tile where I can find another point bag. Not that they're needed anymore, but still got to grab them all. I then take the right fork north into a cave screen that's pretty much identical to the first. I lose my second life from pressing the jump button too late. Then I fall into lava trying to downstab and have to start it all again. This time I fall in lava in the first cave, but this time I do make it through the one I game overed in. I go all the way north into this cave entrance. It's just going up and down these hills with flying enemies all over. The second screen is a straight line with an Aruroda and my first blue Lizalfos. They throw their maces, so imagine a red Daira, but stronger and with a shield. I just have to back him off the screen so I can leave. From here I can only go south. Once I reach the point where I can turn around and go north again, I get another of these identical screens. I make it through and continue north into another cave. I just need to get through this and I'm safe. There's a blue Zalfos at the beginning and I decide, fuck it, and bounce over him. But there's a red Zalfos blocking my way later on, slowing me down enough for the blue one to catch up and kill me. But next time I get over him and make it through the other end, allowing me to finally reach the Great Palace. This is also the only checkpoint in the game. If I game over in the Great Palace, I'll just start at the beginning of the palace instead. With all 6 crystals placed, the barrier disappears and lets me in. I take the lift down. This place is big. I go left to find we're still getting new enemies. Here we have the Fockaroo. They spit fireballs so that can only be blocked with the reflect spell, and if they land on the floor, they'll move along the floor towards you. The next room has me climb blocks onto a bridge with an invisible gap that drops me right into some bits. I get over it next time to find another lift. I take it down and go right to the next screen. Next screen has no enemies, so it's right to the next screen as well. This room is just one Fockaroo guarding a lift. This room has me breaking through several columns of blocks while Ra constantly flying at me. The screen after gives me one of the worst enemies in the game, the appropriately named Fokker. Imagine if a blue iron knuckle could jump. I don't think I need to elaborate. I don't even try fighting and try running to the next screen, but at one point I have to climb up some stairs and break down through some blocks and the Fokker chases me all the way there. But I bait it into moving away and take the chance to get through and take another lift down. I go down one floor, but on the second one down, around the bottom I can walk into a hidden passage on the left where I can fight a King Bubble. It only takes a few hits and doesn't give me anything for killing it, not even XP. I ride the lift down to the bottom and go right, where I take a hit from a Fockaroo and phase through to the next screen. Next room is just me running forward and constantly downstabbing to catch any Ra and rope that comes near me. Then I take another lift down. I smash through some blocks for a blue Fokker to appear out of nowhere, but I bounce over it and keep moving. But it catches up while I'm breaking through the next lot of blocks and kills me. Game over. However, I choose save instead of continue. Continue starts me at the Great Palace entrance. Save puts me back at the North Palace like normal. So I have to go through the Valley of Death again. I make it back with half health and only 2 lives left. Then I lose that second life on the very first Fockaroo. So I just deliberately game over to start again with all my lives. This time I lose my first life on the first Fokker at the same time I open my menu to equip the life spell that would have saved me. I kill the blue Fokker that game overed me last time, but it took nearly all my health and magic. The next screen is a collapsing bridge leading to yet another lift. It takes me down to a room with another King Bubble and a Fockaroo, but I ignore them and keep moving. At the start of the next, I lose that last bit of health to a Fokker. I try escaping, but it's another set of stairs to a column of blocks and there's a King Bubble there too. So I still have to kill him before I can downstab my way to another lift going down. I go down 2 floors and go right across these blocks and carefully downstab to a fairy without dropping myself in lava. I go left of the lift and jump over a long chain of lava pits to the next room. In this room is the final Link doll in the game. I return to the lift and take it down one more time. I go left and force my way past the Fockaroo to the next room. I end up in a cramped tunnel filled with blocks. 5 blocks from the left I downstab through and into a hole. From where it drops me I move right for a giant bit to appear above me. I upstab it to split it into 5 normal ones with a lot of health. I continue to the next screen where I run over a collapsing bridge until I see a hole I can drop into. I go left when I land and start breaking blocks for a Fokker to be hidden inside one of them. Then another one that kills me. Instead I just go right. In here we get the second to last boss in the game, Thunderbird. It is invincible until you cast the Thunder spell. I cast Jump and Shield so I can try to hit it in the face while it flies around dropping fireballs. And after each hit, the fireballs become more frequent. I get the second to last hit in, seconds before one of its fireballs lands on me and gets me a game over. I was so close. I lose my first life to a Ra inches from a lift. I get back to Thunderbird, but I deal less damage than I did last time before it kills me. Next time I end up a hit from death with it still having 2 units of health, but I get those last hits in and kill it. I was going to try the final boss without the well-known trick, but I'm a hit from death on my last life, so I'm skipping that attempt. I move into the room where there's a tiny old man guarding the Triforce of Courage. To trigger the final boss, I have to cast Shield, which instead forces Link's shadow out of himself. So I crouch in the corner and mash that attack button like never before. I am not getting the game over this far in. This trick doesn't work in the Japanese Famicom Disk System version, it somehow came in with the NES and I'm very thankful for it. After destroying my thumb, Link's shadow is defeated and the old man grants Link the Triforce of Courage, and combining its power with the Triforces of Wisdom and Power he got in the first game, he awakens Zelda. Zelda thanks Link and as the curtain lowers, we get the first known kiss between Link and Zelda, at least implied. Even games where their romantic relationship is a huge part of the story didn't get that. Apart from Breath of the Wild being in a distant future of all 3 timelines, we never got any continuation after this game. Every other game since is either a prequel to a prequel, or a sequel to a prequel. So for the longest time, the second game in the series also acted as its ending, which is strange. I wonder how two Zeldas being around at the same time is going to work. But anyway, I always used to think this was the weakest mainline Zelda game. Part of it, I suppose, was bandwagoning. Now that I've played it all the way through and actually taken the time to get used to how it plays, I'm gonna say it. I like Adventure of Link more than the first game. Once you learn all the techniques, I find the combat far more fun despite some annoying enemies, and even the exploration. There's far less of the burn every bush in the game type of cryptic shit, which I don't miss. Much better soundtrack too. This game's two dungeon themes are far better than the first game's especially. I do have some problems. You've seen my frustrations with certain enemies which are more tedious than fun. Along with that, I have never liked the life system, but they aren't enough to stop me liking this game more. I don't judge the second game in a series for being different from the formula we've come to expect in hindsight of what came after, just because what came after reverted to the first game's style. And I heavily disagree with the idea it should have just been a spin-off instead of the main game for being so different. I think the mainline Zelda series is more interesting for having this game as part of it. So yeah, Zelda 2. Good game, not one of my favourites on the NES or in the series, but better than the boring fuckers in the not a true Zelda game crowd would have you believe.